If you think you know the rules of air travel, I need you to pause and listen very carefully. It is currently December 2025, and in just a few weeks, the global travel landscape is going to shift in a way we haven't seen in decades. We aren't just talking about packing tips anymore, we are talking about a fundamental change in how you cross borders, how you board planes, and even how you pay for the right to stand in the security line. For the last year, you've heard rumors. You've heard about real ID deadline shifting. You've heard about visas for Europe, and you've heard about changes at Southwest Airlines. Well, the rumors are over. We now have the hard dates, and many of them kick in starting January 2026. Here is the reality. If you show up to the airport in February 2026 with the same ID and the same strategy you used last year, you might find yourself facing a new $45 fee just to get through security. You might find yourself denied boarding for a trip to London because you missed a digital deadline. And if you're a loyal Southwest flyer, the way you pick your seat is about to vanish forever. Today, we are going to walk through the 16 critical changes hitting the travel world in early 2026. We're going to cover the new pay-to-fly rules at TSA, the specific date UK travel becomes strictly enforced, and the hidden battery trap that could ground your mobility scooter. This isn't just about avoiding lines. It's about making sure you don't get denied at the gate. I've dug through the government filings, the airline policy updates, and the international border codes to bring you the facts. So, grab your notebook. Let's get you ready for 2026. Let's start right here at home with the most controversial change coming to US airports. For years, we've talked about the Real ID Act. You know that little gold star on your driver's license? The deadline was May 2025. But let's be honest, many people still haven't upgraded. And for a long time, the TSA would just give you a warning or do a manual check for free. That free pass ends on February 1st, 2026. The TSA has officially announced that if you arrive at the checkpoint without a Real ID compliant license or a valid passport, you will no longer just be screened. You will be charged. They call it the Confirm ID fee. It's $45 and it's non-refundable. The logic is that verifying your identity manually costs taxpayer money. So now they are passing that cost directly to you. But here is the trap for seniors, especially snowbirds who might be heading south for the winter. That $45 fee only buys you a 10-day verification window. Let's say you fly from New York to Florida on February 1st. You pay the $45 because you forgot your passport. You have a great trip. You stay for 2 weeks. When you go to fly home on February 15th, your 10-day window has expired. You have to pay another $45 to fly home. That's $90 gone just because of an ID card. The fix: if you don't have a real ID, do not rely on this fee system. It involves a separate line and delays of up to 30 minutes. Use your US passport or passport card. If you have a valid passport, you are exempt from this fee. Now let's look across the Atlantic. If you are planning a trip to London, Scotland, or Wales in 2026, the rules of entry have hardened. We've been warning you about the UK's Electronic Travel Authorization, or ETA. It technically launched for US citizens in January 2025. But during the first year, there was a bit of a soft launch period where airlines were lenient. That ends now. Starting February 25th, 2026, the UK government is implementing strict enforcement. This is a no permission, no boarding policy. If you do not have an approved ETA linked to your passport number in the airline system, the computer will physically stop the agent from printing your boarding pass. This isn't a visa you get at the airport. You must apply via the UK ETA app on your smartphone days before you fly. It costs about $21. And be careful. This applies even if you are just transiting through Heathrow to go somewhere else. Don't let a layover turn into a travel nightmare. While we are talking about the UK, prepare your wallet. Starting April 1st, 2026, the UK Air Passenger Duty, APD, is increasing. Again, this is a tax added to every ticket leaving a UK airport. The increase specifically targets non-economy cabins. If you are a senior traveler who splurges on premium economy or business class for comfort on that long flight home, you are going to see a jump in ticket prices. We're talking about a tax bill of over $200 per person just for the luxury of extra legroom. This is a good reason to consider flying home from Dublin or Paris instead, where these specific taxes don't apply in the same way. Moving to the European continent, France, Italy, Germany, Spain, the Entry Exit System, or EES, began its gradual rollout back in October 2025, but April 2026 marks the target for full implementation. This means the age of the passport stamp is officially dead. When you land in Europe, you will not walk up to a booth and get a stamp. You will go to a kiosk. You must scan your face and provide fingerprints for all four fingers. For my travelers over 70, listen closely. These kiosks can be finicky. The screens can be high, and the fingerprint scanners require a bit of pressure. Do not let the people behind you rush you. Take your time. And remember, this system automatically calculates your time in Europe. If you stay 91 days instead of 90, the computer knows instantly, and you could be flagged for a ban. The human discretion of the border guard is gone. Now, I know you're worried about ETS, the travel authorization for Europe. There is so much bad info out there saying you need this now. Let me clarify. You do not need an ETS for travel in January 2026. That system is coming later in the year, likely towards the end of 2026. But here's the good news, because you need to file away. When ETS does launch, there is a perk for seniors. The application fee is $7, but if you are over the age of 70, the fee is waived. You still have to fill out the form, but you don't have to pay. So if you see a website trying to charge you $7 and you're 75, you are on a scam site. One final international note. If you are booking a cruise to South America or a trip to Rio for early 2026, remember that Brazil reinstated its visa requirement for U.S. citizens back in April 2025. This is still catching people off guard. It is an electronic visa, but it requires you to upload bank statements and flight itineraries. It costs about $80. If you show up for your Amazon cruise without this, you won't get on the ship. This is fully active for January 2026 travel. Now, let's talk about the airline that many of you love for its simplicity, Southwest Airlines. For 50 years, they've been the open seating airline. You checked in, you got a number, you picked any seat. Mark this date, January 27th, 2026. That is the day the music stops. All Southwest flights departing on or after this date will have assigned seating. This is a massive cultural shift. You will no longer need to check in exactly 24 hours in advance to get a decent seat. Instead, you will pick your seat when you buy your ticket, just like on Delta or United. But here's the catch. They are introducing premium zones. The front rows and exit rows with extra legroom will now cost extra money. If you want to sit in the front to get off the plane quickly, which I know many seniors prefer, you will likely have to pay a premium for that assignment. This change also triggers a new rule for what Southwest calls customers of size. Historically, if you needed 2 seats for comfort, you could buy 2 and get a refund for the second one after the trip, no matter what. Starting with the new assigned seating model in 2026, that refund is no longer guaranteed. The new policy states that you will only get a refund for the extra seat if the flight is not sold out. If the flight is 100% full and you occupied 2 seats, you pay for 2 seats. This shifts the financial risk onto you. If you need that extra space, you must book it in advance, and you must be prepared to pay for it if the plane is packed, which, let's be honest, most planes are these days. There is another critical change at Southwest that starts even earlier on January 11th, 2026, and it affects anyone traveling with a mobility scooter. To comply with new fire safety regulations, Southwest is enforcing a strict limit on lithium-ion batteries. Batteries for mobility devices cannot exceed 300 Wh. Many heavy-duty or long-range scooters have batteries bigger than this. If your battery is 400 Wh, it will not be allowed on the plane. Period. The fix. go check your scooter's battery now. It's usually printed on the sticker. If it's over 300 W hours, contact the manufacturer immediately to see if they sell a smaller travel battery. Do not wait until you are at the gate to figure this out. It's not all bad news. 2026 also brings some powerful new rights that can save you money and hassle. The Department of Transportation has finally cracked down on airline refunds. In the past, if a flight was delayed, airlines would try to give you a voucher that expired in a year. Under the new rules, fully enforceable in 2026, if your flight is significantly changed, you are entitled to an automatic cash refund if you choose not to fly. What is significant? For domestic flights, a delay of 3 hours or more. For international flights, a delay of 6 hours or more. If they hit that 3-hour mark, you have the power. You can walk up to the desk, say, "I am canceling for a refund," and they must return the money to your credit card within 7 days. No more vouchers. There is a special clause here for my travelers with disabilities or mobility issues. It's called the comparable transport rule. Let's say the airline swaps the plane. You booked a large jet with an accessible lavatory, but they switch it to a small regional jet that doesn't have one. Even if the flight is on time, this counts as a significant change for you. You can refuse the flight and demand a refund because the new plane does not meet your accessibility needs. This is a huge win for dignified travel. If you look at your passport and realize it expires in 2026, you might not need to go to the post office. The State Department has been testing an online passport renewal system, and for 2026, the goal is to have this fully available to the public. You can take your photo with your phone, upload it, pay online, and skip the mail. However, a warning. This is only for renewals. If your passport has been expired for more than 5 years, or if you are applying for the first time, you still have to do it the old-fashioned way. And remember the 6-month rule. Many countries won't let you in if your passport expires within 6 months of your trip. Check that date today. Finally, let's talk about the hidden traps. The things that aren't necessarily laws, but are operational changes that will catch you off guard in 2026. You see people doing this on TikTok all the time, stuffing a hollow neck pillow with clothes to avoid baggage fees. Well, the TSA is onto it. In 2026, with the new CT scanners that see in 3D, a dense overstead neck pillow looks suspicious. It looks like organic mass that could be concealing something. We are seeing more and more reports of TSA agents pulling these pillows aside and forcing passengers to empty them out. If you stuff your pillow with socks and underwear, be prepared to have your laundry aired out in public at the checkpoint. It slows you down and it annoys the agents. Here is a medical tip that saves lives. TSA rules say no liquids over 3.4 Oz, but there is a medical exemption for ice packs used to cool medicines like insulin or breast milk. Here's the trick. The ice pack usually has to be frozen solid. If it's melted and slushy, it's a liquid and they can take it. However, the rules have been clarified to allow slushy packs if they are for medical necessity, but you have to advocate for yourself. Tell the officer immediately, "This is a medically necessary cooling pack for my medication. Do not leave it in the bag. Pull it out and declare it." This is a psychological trick airports are using in 2026. Have you noticed that after you get through security, you are often forced to walk through a winding, duty-free shop before you can even see a gate? They call this the golden walk. They know that once you clear security, you have an adrenaline drop and a dopamine spike. You feel relieved. That makes you more likely to spend money. For seniors, these walks are physically exhausting. They add hundreds of steps to your journey and are often confusing to navigate. Pro tip, look at the floor. Often there is a tiled path that is slightly different from the carpeted retail area, a bypass lane, or look for the elevators immediately after security. They often bypass the retail mezzanine and drop you directly on the concourse, saving your legs and your wallet. And lastly, a quick tip for your in-flight health. Did you know that at 35,000 FT, your ability to taste salt and sugar drops by about 30%? It's true. The cabin pressure and dry air numb your taste buds. Airlines know this, so they load their food with extra sodium to make it taste normal. If you are a senior watching your salt intake or blood pressure, airline food is a hidden danger. That healthy chicken dish might have double the sodium of a restaurant meal. The fix: bring your own food or wear noise canceling headphones. Strange as it sounds, studies show that blocking out the white noise of the jet engine actually helps restore some of your sense of taste, meaning you won't feel the need to add that extra packet of salt to your meal. Travel in 2026 isn't necessarily harder, but it is stricter. The days of talking your way onto a flight or getting a free pass on your ID are gone. Here is your don't get denied checklist for January. Check your ID. If it doesn't have a star, get your passport ready to avoid the $45 fee. Download the apps. You need the airline app for assigned seats and the UK ETA app for London trips. Measure your battery. Check those scooter specs before you drive to the airport. Know your refund rights. 3 hours delay equals cashback. I want you to keep traveling. I want you to see the world, but I want you to do it with your eyes open. Don't let a battery or a barcode be the reason you miss your vacation. If you found this guide helpful, hit that subscribe button. I'll be tracking these rollouts every single week. Stay safe, travel smart, and I'll see you at the gate.